Hey everybody, Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich. Quick update on Tropical Storm Isaias. Now it has weakened quite a bit and it's a very interesting storm that isn't showing a lot of signs that it's going to get bigger or that much stronger, though there is some potential it could get a little more intense tonight. So a quick look at the visible satellite image before we lose it. We're getting towards sunset here. You can see during the afternoon the storm was naked, which basically meant the low-level circulation was spinning there, but not a lot of thunderstorms. But that has been changing here, and this is typical. As you go into the overnight hours, we go through a diurnal change where we see a big explosion of thunderstorms. But what's interesting, on the west side, there's barely any showers. There are tropical storm force gusts occasionally on the Florida coast, but most winds are between 20 and 30 miles per hour. It actually isn't all that impressive. The big wind is still east of the center, but the strongest winds and pressure and everything is really confined to this small little swirl, which is sitting off the southeast coast of Florida. Here's the wider view. Up until the last couple of hours here, this did not look like a hurricane or even a tropical storm. It just looked like a swirl of clouds. And that's pretty important because I don't expect this to get a lot stronger at any point in the future. Sure, as it gets over these warm waters off the east coast of Florida, could it perk back up to 74, 75 miles per hour? It's down to 70 right now. That's a possibility, but it's not going to be spiking up too crazy. And when you look at the intensity guidance, the Hurricane Center does bring it up to hurricane force. That is literally the only piece of guidance that brings it back to hurricane strength is the actual official forecast. All of the guidance is actually below that. Even the most extreme guidance is pretty much where it is right now. So there's a clear sign here. There's nothing that points to this thing getting stronger. Now, in meteorology, anything can happen, but the overwhelming amount of evidence shows this is not going to be a powerful system at any point in the future. That being said, it still has the potential to produce some very strong winds. So here's the updated forecast track from 5 o'clock. You can see the circulation moving up the east coast of Florida. Hurricane warnings up there, probably overdone. Probably only going to see tropical storm force conditions. As it makes that turn, it's going to encounter more wind shear and some interaction with Florida. So I don't anticipate it getting stronger, but it could maintain strong tropical storm force conditions. And then it moves into South Carolina, eastern North Carolina, late Monday night, early Tuesday morning. So this time frame right in here is 2 o'clock in the morning, Tuesday morning. So expect the worst weather on the South and North Carolina coast to be basically Monday night into Tuesday morning. And again, there's not a lot of wiggle room here. Sure, it could go here, could get a little farther west, but we're pretty confident it's going to be somewhere in here. And because it's such a small system, any little wiggle to the east really reduces any impacts on the west side. So there's a good reason there's no evacuations for most of South Carolina, because probably not warranted. And here's the thing. I never like to underplay storms because all storms, definitely pose a risk and you need to pay attention. But on a scale from 0 to 5, 5 being the most severe storm or hurricane and 0 being nothing, this is like a 0.7, 0.8, marginally a 1. It's probably less than a 1. So while you need to pay attention to this, it's certainly not something crazy that would cause widespread damage or destruction. Now, speaking of that, the maximum sustained winds now forecast for most of South Carolina along the coast, 60 to 65. These are max gusts, by the way. And then into eastern North Carolina, you see generally 40 to 60. There's a couple that get close to 70, but those will be in the heavier rain bands. And I don't anticipate anything too crazy than that. That could cause power outages and trees down. That's why you still got to pay attention to this. This would be a severe thunderstorm warning type event for most of eastern North Carolina. And there's probably going to be 1 to 3 inches of storm surge. The good news for rainfall, this thing's going to be flying off in this direction, which means we probably won't see that much rain. Let me show you how much I expect to see. So here's that rainfall forecast. You can see a pretty big swath. And again, this is a 7-day forecast. So some of this is probably going to be associated with Isaias, but some might actually be associated with the trough, which is swinging in. So day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. You can see some of this rain actually gets added after the fact. So yeah, a couple inches of rain. Certainly we're all going to know there's a tropical storm moving through, but certainly nothing over the top. So the good news I would tell you in all this is the storm is not showing significant signs of getting stronger, which is good news for all of us. but it's still going to pose a threat for rip currents, storm surge, heavy rain, and winds up to 60 or 70 miles per hour. Just don't expect a massive hurricane or widespread destruction. That's just not the way this is shaping up. But we'll keep an eye on this tonight, because if this thunderstorms continue to wrap up and then pull around the center, that would be something more to keep an eye on. In fact, if I bring over the radar here, I'll bring over the radar real quickly here. You can see what's going on. So here's the east coast of Florida. There's just scattered showers right now. The core of the storm is right in here. And let me throw the wind gust up currently. You can see it has some pretty strong winds along the coast, but nothing too crazy. I mean, if I were to show this radar any given day in South Florida, you'd probably say not a big deal, but there are some pretty good winds in there. You'll certainly notice the wind speeds as this moves up and clips the coast and then comes up here. And by 2 a.m., you know, it's basically just south of Myrtle Beach with probably 60, 65 mile per hour winds and then moving up the coast. So that's a look at Isaias right now. I will do another update tomorrow during probably the morning. I'll try to do an update tomorrow morning, and I'll keep an eye on it overnight tonight. If we see any big changes, I'll post another update with the 11 o'clock advisory. Hope you're having a great Saturday night. Stay tuned for further updates on Tropical Storm Isaias with currently 70 mile per hour winds.